So we see education as the experiences you have to live a meaningful life in self-directed learning environments, right? So like having these technologies accessible for kids, I think it creates, as I said, another like new spectrum of possibilities for them to participate in experiences that otherwise would become hard.
So yeah, we would need to think about how to design lessons in which there are several groups of students that are using different sets of VR glasses together.
Well, we are doing our pilot, so we are getting some students' perceptions about how do they feel using this kind of technology. The next step would be do proper research to check all the variables that we are talking about, and let's see if they improve using this kind of methods, even though we are not anymore, luckily, in a COVID context, with everybody at home, everybody learning online, and these kind of things.
So I think that just if we can bring these technologies closer to kids, I think the emotion could lead to not only meaningful but also more intense and more lasting learning experiences. And also I think that I've seen them with similar technologies now. We also place intentional culture creation and relationships very high in our priorities and values in the schools that we have. And I've seen them like already connecting through these technologies, right? And my body had resistances to it, but it seems like they have less resistances to, like physical resistance and emotional resistance to this. So I think that also having these technologies will allow us to continue to create healthy cultures and healthy social tissue, and not only with people or among people together, like physically together, but also we can start, in the macro, connecting people from very different places in ways that seem close, in other dimensions of the being, I would say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that is an immersive experience. So your mind is actually in that three-dimensional space where your colleagues in a three-dimensional space and three-dimensional figures are also joining. And that is a big difference between doing meetings that are web-based, only Teams and so on, or webcam, than going into these virtual worlds. So it's immersive. Your mind is totally there. Going to primary school or secondary education, I think that especially the French schools, at least in our context in Belgium, can really leverage and profit from this methodology. They can really enrich their teaching practices actually by adding some agile rituals and by allowing actually the students to be a little bit more self-directed. I think it can be really beneficial both for the teachers and also for the learners.
I think it's great. I mean, my perception is that in a digital context, as we started this project with this COVID context in our mind, because we wanted to find some solutions in order to provide better teaching practices for the students, I think it could be great in order to emphasize this social part of the learning, because of course, I think it's a key element for learning, and of course for the feeling of the students when they are sharing learning experiences with their peers.
Well, from the perspective of having a company where we are all distributed, no one is really, I'm in Belgium and we are 3 in Belgium, but the rest are in other places. At the moment, we are doing, for example, Teams or meetings, and then we Scrum and so on and do our Trello. But if we could have that feeling of being together in that virtual space, I think it could be cool. That is one of the possibilities, especially if you are part of a distributed team.
Like if you are working remote all the time, I think like a part of your time collaborating in a virtual world could also bring something unique. It could be your virtual world, and you
Totally.
could build your virtual world with your team
Totally.
that
Yeah.
nobody else has, and that there is a lot of power, I think, in that idea of building virtual worlds.
If we connected with virtual reality or with augmented reality or these mixed reality experiences, actually we can have even a similar scenario as remote, as distant working. So we could go more into having those spaces where the Agile Learning Centers can gather. All those micro schools can actually have an enriching place for more learning experiences.
If you look at it from that perspective, that you can actually create something that is truly your own and like is truly can be collaboratively built by a team and doesn't exist in the real world, but like, you know, that space, that's our space, and it helps to build maybe community.